Welcome back to the Weekly Manga Podcast. This is the podcast where we talk about all of your favorite ongoing Japanese manga. This week we got the announcement that Jujutsu Kaisen is ending in just a few chapters, so we wanted to tell you some new and ongoing series that we think can fill the void left by all those dead characters that you loved. This is a recommendation episode based solely around fantasy battle shonen manga. We'll get into that, manga news, and more coming right up. Hello again, my name is Bruce. I am the proprietor of the White Gray Black YouTube channel, and this week I am joined again by my constant co-host, Gautam.
Hello, hello.
Special shout out and thanks to our Patreon subscribers, Yaji Black, still the one. If you want to have your name right at the top of the episode, see some bonus content, check out patreon.com/WGBmanga. It's only $3. All right, let's hop into it. The idea of this is Jujutsu Kaisen is ending. I know that there are a lot of people who watch the show, love the show. It is a phenomenon type show, right? It's the thing after Demon Slayer that everyone kind of watches. After I think the second season ended and even maybe some of the third season, a lot of people hopped over to the manga. So there are a lot of manga readers who read Jujutsu Kaisen. And it is ending, after you listen to this, it will be ending in, I think, 5 chapters or 4 chapters. Depends on when you hear this. So it is our responsibility as widespread manga readers to give you recommendations which fall into line with Jujutsu Kaisen. So we are going to recommend some things that are purely action, some things that are dark fantasy, some things that are sort of a little bit more violent and brutal, I would say, and kind of a broad selection from that type of manga. So with all that, let's get in. The first recommendation, Gautam, I think is one of yours. First two here from Weekly Shonen Jump, and that's Sakamoto Days by Yuto Suzuki. Tell me about this one.
Listen, if you like action shonen and you're not reading Sakamoto Days, you're doing yourself a disservice. It is so good. I think there, as far as creative fights go, nothing beats Sakamoto Days. Even fight choreography is amazing, paneling is amazing, but really the creativity in how these fights play out between all these assassins is just a blast. I'd say it is how over the top some of the John Wick movies are, except pushed to an even bigger extreme. It's have you seen the movie Wanted, Bruce?
Yes, I have. It's a terrible fucking movie.
It's a terrible movie, but you know how they curve the bullets? They could do bullet jutsu. It is that level of antics in Sakamoto Days at maybe on every panel. Yeah. And
basically everyone who fights in Sakamoto Days has their own version of curve the bullet. And some of them directly have curve the bullet or more. Yeah, this is, you're right. This is, to me, the pinnacle of action choreography in manga. You are not going to get better action on the page that is more creative than Sakamoto Days. This one has an anime coming, I think, January next year. So I do think that this is going to be hopefully a pretty big hit. I am worried because I think that it starts just a little bit slow. Not super slow, but it does take, for me, it took maybe 12 or 14 chapters before I was like, oh, okay, I get it. They're in high action gear now. Now it's working for me. So we'll see.
Personally, I really like the beginning, but I agree
chapter
with
1
you.
is awesome.
It is, it's a 50-50 mix at the beginning, the first 10 to 12 chapters of slice of life mixed with fights. Mm-hmm. And then as we go, I'd say it's more 70-30 or 80-20.
Yeah, this is basically a series where you'll spend 20 or 30 chapters, going through a series of fights, connected fights, and then you will get maybe one chapter to talk about what they were fighting about, and maybe one chapter to tell you who they're going to fight next, and then they're fighting the next person. And we kind of just did that, right? I think we finish an arc. I think we had 2 chapters without much fighting, and then we were immediately back into we're fighting someone or we're getting ready to. So yeah, this is a battle shonen primarily, and like we said, yeah, this one is all about the action and the choreography, especially so creative, So good. Yeah, cannot recommend this one enough.
I don't know if I can think of a manga I have more fun with. I'd say it's the most fun manga I read week to week. I can't think of one that is like just pure fun. Is that goes to Sakamoto Days over everything else, I'd say.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those series. I know that people use the phrase like, "Oh, it's turn your brain off, fun, turn your brain off." This is the one.
It is one of those.
It absolutely is. But it's not. It's not turn your brain off because you're like ignoring the bad parts of it. It's just turn your brain off because you don't have to think about it. You're just along for the ride and enjoying it. Like the characters are still fun. Yeah, the characters are still fun. The writing is fine. The plot is good enough. Everything is good enough, and then the action is phenomenal. So I definitely think this one. I think this one will appeal to those Jujutsu Kaisen readers. So all right, cool. Anything else about Sakamoto Days?
Nothing else. I honestly think you should read it regardless of if you read Jujutsu Kaisen or not. It's just that good.
It is definitely just a good recommendation, I'd say, for anyone who's an action shonen fan. So.
Oh, I suppose one more thing. We don't have One Piece on our list because, in my eyes, it's just a given. You should read One Piece, definitely.
Yeah, that is definitely just a given. So, all right, cool. I'll go on to the one that I brought. That's right. It's the meme manga Kagurabachi. This is by Takeru Hokazono. This is also in Weekly Shonen Jump, so same magazine as Jujutsu Kaisen. This one to me feels the most like a direct spiritual successor to Jujutsu Kaisen. It is hitting a lot of the same beats. It is sort of magic, modern day magic action battle manga. It kind of has the dark not super dark fantasy like one of our later recommendations, Berserk, but it definitely still has a little bit more of the kind of violence. People die in this series, and they're fighting with swords, and people get cut in half. So it has that violence. It has that kind of a little bit more mature angle. It has cool and creative fights and magic. They call it sorcery in here. So yeah, this one. I mean, I think this is. If you're just looking for, if you finish Jujutsu Kaisen and you're just like, I just wanted to read more Jujutsu Kaisen, I think Kagurabachi is like, I think that this is the thing for you. And I think it's probably a little bit better written than Jujutsu Kaisen. So, although I have not consumed much of it, I've seen, I've done maybe 30 chapters total from what I've seen. I think Kagurabachi is better in that regard. So.
You can't try to appeal to JJK fans and instantly shit on them in minute one.
They're looking for more. We are attempting to branch out people who have been reading maybe only one manga. So if we can get them to read just one from this video, I think that's good enough.
It should be One Piece for the record. But anyway.
Yeah, probably.
I digress.
Yeah, but Kagurabachi is fairly new. I think it's maybe just hitting its 1 year of publication. So I think we're on chapter like 44, maybe just got published, something like that. You've had kind of two major arcs finished. So if you're hopping on this one, you're hopping on pretty early. You can certainly check the box of I was a fan of that before the anime, because I think that this one is going to survive and get an anime probably in year and a half. And I think that if I had to choose the next sort of Demon Slayer Jujutsu Kaisen hit, I think it's probably Sakamoto Days. And then after that, I think it's going to be Kagurabachi, right? This is going to be the one that everybody from, 9 to 50 is watching because it's cool action. It's dark. It's about magical swords and sorcerers and stuff. So,
you know what, dude? I think you're right. It is definitely going to be Sakamoto Days because its sales are insane and it does not have an anime. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Once that thing gets an anime, it is going to pop off.
Yeah, I mean, everything in Weekly Shonen Jump that survives sells pretty well. I mean, Kagurabachi also sells really, really well. I want to say I'm trying to think. I think the only new series that's sold better than Kagurabachi in the last, I guess it would be more like 3 or 4 years is I think
Ruri
Dragon sold better, and then took a break, and then that might be it. I think this has a really strong start in my opinion.
It's doing better than everything. As of
as far as new series in Weekly Shonen Jump.
Oh wow, okay.
Like I think it sold slightly better than stuff like Akane Banashi. New A's Exorcist might sell more than it, although that's not on this list because I think that's garbage. So
I've made my opinion on New A's Exorcist.
Yeah, we both have. All right, cool. Yeah, Kagurabachi. I think that I think these are the two series from Weekly Shonen Jump that people should check out if you are sort of deeply into Jujutsu Kaisen. So I think those are two good recommendations: Sakamoto Days and Kagurabachi. So
it's a cool cover too.
Yeah, I think the art in this is really cool. It's not the best in the magazine, but I do think it's really good. So
yeah.
All right, next up, Gautam. This one's one you brought. Tell me, is an obvious choice?
You know, I through this list, I feel guilty for going so mainstream with it, but I would be like remiss not to bring these up. It's DanDaDan, dude. It's so fucking good. It is it is there for a reason.
Jujutsu Kaisen fans, cover your ears for a second. We're bringing mainstream stuff because Jujutsu Kaisen is a mainstream manga, and I think that they want to read more mainstream stuff. And plus, mainstream stuff, some things are popular for a reason. These are popular because they are good. So,
I was just thinking broadly battle shonen, right, or action manga, and it would be crazy not to mention DanDaDan.
Yeah, this is, I think, the best. I think this is the best action battle shonen around right now, if we're being honest.
Probably second for me, or wait, maybe third for me. I like one other on the list, and then Sakamoto Days better. But DanDaDan is so good at what it does, but it does everything. Like, it is a hilarious manga. It has good romance beats, like great drama, tension, and like the plot is amazing. It's fucked up that it is just so good at everything that I don't have like any criticism of what it does poorly. But of course, it does the action amazingly too. It just looks phenomenal. You can look at like any of the action panels and see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, any spread also look awesome in this series.
Yeah, we do these like silly award shows at the end of the year and pick our favorite stuffs. And I think one year I put DanDaDan as best romance because truly, like, the chemistry between the main two characters is a lot better and felt a lot more natural to me than most romance manga. It's like refreshingly natural feeling chemistry they have. It just makes sense. Whereas, like, I think a lot of romance manga, they do this little outcast meets hot girl type thing, and it feels a little forced. It doesn't make sense why she's so into him. It totally makes sense here. And
yeah, other series will do like, oh, well, of course they're going to end up together because that's who the story's telling me they're going to end up together. This one is much more like, okay, I see how they're getting closer. I see why they are enjoying each other. It's very organic. It's very, the progression of it, I think, is at the right pace.
I think they have good banter. Anyway, that's just the romance angle I'm talking about. The action angle is fucking phenomenal too. It is drawn so well, and every character has their unique role in the team. It's just cool. Yeah. Just go check it out. You'll see what I'm talking about instantly.
Yeah, this
within
is
like the first chapter.
Oh yeah, the first. I very recently reread the first 25 chapters of DanDaDan. I'd forgotten some stuff. If we're talking about stuff from Shueisha, which is going to be an instant hit, this one is coming out in October, I think, is when the first episode of this starts airing. This one is going to be an absolute smash hit. Like, this is going to blow people away.
By the way, guys, if they have like a limited release of the first 3 episodes in theaters.
Oh yeah.
Me and Bruce have tickets to go see it. We're in Austin, so we have some tickets to go see the first 3 episodes in theaters. You should go snag them if they're playing at your local theater.
I think that's like September 19th or 18th or 20, somewhere around the middle, late
there.
September. Yeah. Definitely check that out. This one also has a lot of things. It's modern day. It deals with yokai and, dark magic stuff in modern day kind of Tokyo setting. So I think it's great. Yeah. DanDaDan is, I love this series. I have never been so in love with something and everything it does. This can do no wrong for me. I love DanDaDan. So
it has done no wrong. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, cool. Anything else there, or are we good?
Nope. Let's keep going.
All right. Here's another new one that I thought I would bring. This is also in Jump Plus. This is a series called Centuria by Tohru Kumamori. This one started pretty recently. You can go back. I think we're on maybe just now chapter 20. So go back to the start of the year. You can see our review of chapter 1 of this that we were really, really positive on. And I've continued reading this. And I think Centuria is pretty awesome so far. It is another, I would say, sort of dark, kind of hyper-violent series. The main character essentially has like an eldritch power inside of them. And we are slowly in the story meeting more people with those eldritch powers, and there are prophecies and dark magics, and it's very cool. But this one is a little bit more high fantasy. But it's very good so far. The art is very cool. The monster design, I think, is awesome. The fights are really well executed, and I just think it is a new and slightly different take on some things we've seen before, where it's, oh yeah, I have the power of, a vampire or a demon or a yokai or whatever inside of me, and I will use that to, save people and do good things. And this one, sets it in kind of a fantasy Norse land in, the Middle Ages, essentially. And it is very interesting, and I think it's very good so far. And I think this one also has a stellar chapter 1 that's really, really good. Gotcha. Are you still reading this? Are you caught up with it, or did you just read?
I'm a few behind. I'm more than a few. I'm like 10 chapters behind. But it was good from what I read. I appreciate that the main character's power is that it sounds lame on paper, but they're as strong as 100 men. But read the first chapter, you'll get what we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, this is a really good one. Another, again, sort of dark action fantasy thing. And yeah, it's on Jump Plus. All of these, I think you can read the first 3 chapters for free if you go to, Sakamoto Days, Kagurabachi, DanDaDan. Yeah, all 3 of these have at least 3 chapters free on Manga Plus. So far you can read all of them there. I got to.
Yeah, it's Berserk. This one I can actually see people not having read before, since we get more and more people entering like the manga space as we go. Berserk is an older one, but goddamn, is it good? Yeah. It's you've probably heard of it. It's at the top of my anime list manga top list for a reason. It is the best illustrated manga you'll read. Yeah. I really don't think if you read Berserk, there's nothing that is better illustrated than Berserk. It's just beautiful.
I think Kentaro Miura, before he died, I think was probably the most detailed currently publishing manga artist. It's insane. Some of the spreads in this are like, you will look at a spread
them up on your wall.
Oh yeah, I'm legitimately thinking about putting like something behind me from Miura. So
I will say this is way darker than JJK. This
is darker than almost anything else. This is like one of the darkest, edgiest manga you can find.
And you're right on both fronts. But I'd like to clarify the edginess is I don't. It's not like a negative connotation that we're talking about. Yeah. It is edgy, but it feels earned through the plot.
Yeah. And if you know anything about comics in the 1980s, that's kind of the ethos that this comes from. There was a big turn in the kind of late 70s, 80s into, superheroes were this fun, happy, colorful thing, all through the 60s and 70s. And then they were like, okay, we're going to be dark. We're going to go counterculture against that. And Berserk comes from kind of that feeling. So it is very, very dark.
And I would say the first 100 chapters is what fans call the Golden Age arc in Berserk. That is 10 out of 10 manga. Yeah. It is manga at its peak.
It might be the single greatest manga arc of all time.
Yeah, possibly. It's just so goddamn good. So I don't know. I would read it above anything if you like manga in general.
Yeah, this is also one we've been kind of throwing in mentions of anime here and there. Berserk is. There are 3 Golden Age movies that I think are okay. I don't they do not cover the totality of Berserk, and Berserk is a manga. Like, this is the reason so many people read and talk about this, as a manga first, and they don't even talk about the anime is, one, the animes are mostly bad, and two, it's like no anime could be produced that has art on the level of Miura, and it's just this. Yeah. It has to be read. So
it's like, well, I will say this, there are a lot of people who love the '90s anime, but you're right. It doesn't make sense to watch Berserk in my eyes because of how goddamn beautiful the artwork is in the manga. Yeah. It is that next level, and we're not exaggerating.
Yeah, I mean, if you were saying, "Hey, recommend me a dark fantasy action manga," this was the most obvious addition to the list, I think.
Yeah, I'd say so.
All right, cool. Anything else on Berserk?
Nope.
Cool. This is another one that I read. This is another one you can read on Manga Plus, from Jump Plus, from Shueisha. This is Chojun X by Sui Ishida, previously of Tokyo Ghoul fame. And I think there's probably, you guys can jump in the comments if you're the person who watched Tokyo Ghoul and got into kind of the darker violent anime from that and then jumped onto Jujutsu Kaisen after that. I'm going to guess that there's probably a couple of people out there like that. This is more of that. Chojun X is, in my opinion, I have not read all of Tokyo Ghoul. I have read a little bit of it. I've read maybe 30, 35 chapters. In my opinion, Tokyo Ghoul was like a rehearsal for Chojun X. I think Chojun X is better in every single way. It is modern day. People have kind of weird dark magic demon powers that are very specific and very coolly executed. Anytime they die, they can raise themselves back to life. Kind of a certain number of times. There's like certain limitations on that, but this one has, I think, a great power system. I think it is the right amount of dark and weird and violence. It isn't always like that. I think this also, I mean, Sui Ishida, we can talk about how good, the action, the combat, the magic systems and the powers and all stuff is. Sui Ishida is like a character first writer. And of all the things we've listed outside, maybe Berserk and DanDaDan, I would put Chojun X on the same level of these characters are well written as something like DanDaDan. This series is really, really, really fucking good. And I do not see it being discussed enough. And I don't even, it does sell pretty well, but it could sell more in my opinion. This is another one I think, like, when this one gets an anime, it's gonna be as big or bigger than Tokyo Ghoul was when it came out.
So that's a hot take. Because Tokyo Ghoul is pretty big.
Trust me, like, especially the start. Chojun X is really strong, I think, at the start. I mean, it's strong the whole way through. Chojun X is really cool. Like, it's really fucking, like, let me tell you something. There's an asterisk on this because there's one thing that I think Sui Ishida is really bad at, and that's action paneling. As opposed to something like DanDaDan or Sakamoto Days that we mentioned, those have really good action paneling. Sui Ishida's not very good at that. So in the fights, they're a little bit confusing on the page for me. I think, to me, it does not matter. This series is so good that I'm excited to read the fights. There's creative stuff. I don't know. It's so good. And like I said, it's just the right amount of, like, the powers are a little weird. The stuff is like a little weird and creepy and violent. It's the same, a lot of the same kind of, angle, I guess you could say, as Tokyo Ghoul, where it's like, oh, that's like a weird version of violence that they're doing right now, or like that's a strange angle to approach, like cannibalism or something, for example. Right. Chojun X has stuff like that, where it's like, oh, that's a weird, violent, kind of disgusting thing, but it's cool also, and that's the kind of thing Chojun X is. I think it's really, really good. I think more people should read it. So.
Yeah, I read through all of Tokyo Ghoul. I haven't read Chojun X yet, so. On my list.
You should definitely check it out. All right. Got him. There's another obvious one. Tell me about One Punch Man.
I think people are going to think I'm hyperbolic because I just followed up by saying Berserk is the best looking manga of all time. And it is. But now I'm talking about the second best looking manga of all time, which is One Punch Man. It is beautiful. It is so good. This has the best action paneling I've ever seen. Yes. It has the best art in a currently running manga I've ever seen. Berserk is still running, but Miura has since died. So
Yeah, Miura's
so we
passed,
don't,
so
it's still beautiful, but we
is
don't
number
get
one
the
now.
yeah. So I'll say Murata is number one now. One Punch is just a goddamn phenomenon. It is beautiful. It's so well illustrated, and it's goddamn fun.
Yeah.
The plot behind One Punch, it's kind of like a shitpost of a manga where it's a parody on your normal superhero tropes. You all know what One Punch Man is. He one punches monsters. He beats all enemies in one punch practically. And he's just like a goofy little bald-headed, caped little guy, you know, and he's fighting these like existential threats every other chapter. Yeah, I don't know what else to say aside from it is a incredibly fun ride that looks way better than it should for the plot it's covering.
And I think this has the appeal of a very large cast of characters, like something like Jujutsu Kaisen has. That you're kind of you're gonna pick your favorite, and they're gonna have a moment to shine. And One Punch Man, I'd say, is kind of carried by its side characters, driven by its side characters. I would
driven
say.
by side characters, carried by Saitama.
Saitama is still
He's still like the smoking gun that gets fired at the end. Basically, how the formula goes, and it's a really fun formula, is there's a big villain and threat, and there's like a lot of setup and the villain causing chaos and fighting the heroes and proving that they are a bigger threat than initially anticipated. And then once all of that is established and things are looking bleak for our heroes, Saitama shows up and bumbles onto the scene somehow, and the villain underestimates him, and Saitama beats him in one punch. And we draw the curtains and move on. And it's hilarious and fun and cathartic every single time.
And even, honestly, even more fun than the times where Saitama like wins or defeats someone. Anytime Saitama has to fight someone in the capacity where he is not trying to kill or beat them. For instance, he has a bunch of duels with his kind of protege, like self-proclaimed protege. All of those fights are awesome. He has a couple of things where people will attack him to like, get out of here. You're not supposed to be here. And he doesn't want to kill him. So they're just kind of tussling like that. Those are some of the best fights because Saitama is like doing stuff, but not punching. And the people fighting him are pulling out all their powers against him. Like, for instance, he fought Tatsumaki, right? The little one?
Right, yeah.
He fought her, I don't know, earlier in the year, I think. And that was like a great fight.
It was great, yeah.
Yeah, so good. You're right. This is the best action paneling of all time. This is better than any Western comic. It's amazing. There's a video on the White Gray Black channel you can check out if you're interested on that.
Cool. I think it's by proxy of Murata just being, he has like hacks as a human being.
He's just the best. Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's just an exceptional artist. I would definitely say, as far as working authors right now or working artists in manga, I think he's the best.
If you guys haven't seen it, he did like a little like animated short that he illustrated. It's just like a 1 and 30-second short with Saitama like running errands. It is very good. Go check it out. It's on his Twitter. Yeah.
He also animated like maybe 6 or 7 minutes across like 3 or 4 parts. A like modern update, like Journey to the West Monkey King story. Like in modern day. I think you've seen some of this, Gautam.
Maybe. I'm not recalling though.
That's also like really good, where he has like they like, I don't know, they like steal a briefcase for some reason. I don't know. It's all animated by him, and you'll watch it and you'll be like, well, this is like amazing. And like, this is like some of the best, like hand-drawn.
Where does he find the time? Like,
yeah, I don't.
Does he have 8 arms? Like, what? How is he doing this?
Well, and funny little side tangent on Murata. He founded an animation studio that has a name that I can't remember that he did this little Journey to the West thing under. I have a conspiracy theory that animation studio, the only reason he founded it is to like, I don't know, like hire someone to take calls. Well, no, I was going to say he only made it so that he could hire and employ someone to take calls. I think he's the only person working on that. I think he literally just wants to do animation work and is like, I'll found a studio and tell them I have people. And then when they, when I get asked to do some some animation moment in anime, he's like, I'll just do it. And then
Yeah.
he just wants to do it, and he'll just be amazing at it. And you'll see, you know, I don't know. His name is going to start showing up in anime, I think, really soon. I think I just think he's going to start doing animation, and people are going to be like, this guy is like one of the best animators. Like, what is it?
I wouldn't doubt him being an amazing animator. He's already a god walking among us. So
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all on
Enough,
One Punch Man.
take a cold shower to get away from this game, Murata.
Yeah, to quit stroking him off. Let's keep going.
All right. Next up, we're getting kind of away from the Shueisha umbrella into the Kodansha umbrella. Next up, this is Gachiakuta by Kei Urana. This is in Weekly Shonen Magazine. Man, where do I even start? This is one of the best modern shonen, I think, that's going on right now. Like, I think this is easy top 5. It's so good. This is a kind of weird gonzo dark magic. The people in this are tattooed and pierced more than other manga, is I think a way to kind of describe the visuals of it. This is about a guy who has powers he can give to trash he picks up, essentially. And other people have powers that they use from a specific item that they have loved for a long time. And this series, for just to kind of throw you a suggestion, Gautam and I are currently doing a read through of all the volumes of Gachiakuta to catch us up to live. We have done 5 volumes of that you should see on the channel. There might be more if you're watching this later. And we're like absolutely loving it. I like adore this series. I think the art is weird and intense and different and cool. I think the character writing in this is awesome. I think the fights are really great. Like the action, like the characters and the character designs are like a super standout part of this. This is, I mean, and I think, Matt, we just keep talking about it. This one, I think, again, has an anime coming next year. And I think this one is going to be really big because that first chapter / first episode is going to blow people's socks off. And then it's going to keep going. Yeah, I mean, this is just such a great series.
Yeah, it's been really fun so far. Yeah, like Bruce said, we're reading through it. It's freaking solid, man. Like you said, like there's a lot of graffiti, tattoos, piercings, and I think this series, above a lot of others I read, has like a strong theme of appreciating everyone, like others' individuality and what makes them them, more so than like a lot of manga. And I think it doesn't feel like forced. It's just like a cool thing about the world. It's very thematically well written, I would say. Yeah, agreed. It's about valuing things that society may not value. Mm-hmm. It's solid. Yeah, and I'll throw this in here. I know that one of the big appeals of Jujutsu Kaisen is Gojo. That man has more gay porn drawn of him than maybe any other anime character in history. I don't even want to see it when I see it on Twitter. I honestly think it might be true. I'm not sure. It would not surprise me if he is. People love Gojo. He's cool. He is that sort of cool, teacher character who comes in and is super powerful. I think the next Gojo is in Gachiakuta. There's a character named Engine, and I think that is going to be the new guy that people are in love with once the anime comes out, and sort of more people get eyes on it. He is a Gojo himself for sure. I think so. I think as far as that kind of character archetype existing in Battle Shonen, I think Engine is. I think he's better than Gojo because I think he's a little bit funnier, but he is that type of character. So I like Gojo. So I don't know. They're tied for me. But you want to hear a conspiracy theory I just thought up? Yes. What if people aren't actually horny for Gojo, but they're horny for blindfolds? Because 2B is very popular. That is true. 2B is popular. They both have blindfolds and white hair. I mean, blindfold is a coincidence. A blindfold is a kink item, I would say. So yeah. So I don't know. Ladies, gentlemen, get yourself a blindfold. You'll be very popular. That's it, dude. You walk around with a blindfold, people will be attracted to you. That's the secret. Bleach your hair. Yeah, just don't cross any streets with a blindfold. Yeah, be careful. All right, Gatam. We're on to some monthly series. So tell me, this is Records from Ragnorok by Shinya Umemura and Takumi Fukui. Yeah, this is a turn your brain off and just read and have fun series, where the plot is dumb, but I don't think it's supposed to be smart. It basically, and you definitely read the manga over the anime. The anime is not very good, and the manga is beautifully drawn. Yeah, this is basically just a tournament arc where the gods decide, hey, humanity sucks, let's blow up Earth, and they're like, okay, but we have to let the humans have their fair say. Let's have a battle tournament where we pit our like strongest 7 gods versus humanity's 7 champions, and it's just a bunch of 1v1 fights where gods are fighting humans. It's great. I think it's like one of the earlier ones was like Adam, the first human, versus like I think it was Zeus or Thor or something like that.
Wasn't there like Nikola Tesla versus somebody, or was it Edison? I don't.
Yeah, I think it was Tesla. Okay, and yeah. I'm forgetting exactly who he fought because it's all a blur in my brain. I turned my brain off after all.
Yeah, but I was gonna say any manga that draws this many muscles on a part of a person's body that just doesn't really have that many muscles is a turn your brain off series. So,
hey, you don't know that historically, he had a 1,000 pack apparently.
Yeah. I've heard this. I need to read this one, I guess, because you've been suggesting this one for a long time, and I'm always down for a fun series that's just a bunch of fights, and this sounds fun.
It's a really good time. I enjoyed the hell out of it. Again, don't take it too seriously. It's just a good time. Just vibe with it. Cool. I think one of like the fan favorite fights is Jack the Ripper versus Hercules. That's a good one.
That's all you need to say. Is this series? This is a series that has Jack the Ripper versus Hercules.
Yeah,
and there is true debate on who would win that fight. So yeah,
truly, exactly.
Yeah.
Somehow Jack the Ripper has a chance here.
Somehow Jack the Ripper has returned.
Yeah.
The Palpatine has returned to me. All right, cool. Anything else on records from Ragnarok?
Nope. That's it.
All right. We're on to the last one. You thought you could escape it, but you can't. I'm here again for probably the 6th time this year and maybe the 10th time in the total podcast run to recommend to you Yomi no Tsugai by Hiromu Arakawa of Full Metal Alchemist fame. This is published in Monthly Shonen Gangan. This is the best manga of all time. I love this manga so much.
All time?
No, it's not finished, so I can't make that claim. I very recently went back. I bought all of the English volumes that are currently out. I pre-ordered, I think I have 5 volumes. I pre-ordered volume 6. And for reference, I'm not a manga collector. I do not own that many manga. I am bound determined to own all of this. It rocks. I feel like I don't need to say any more than this is from the author of Full Metal Alchemist, and it is another fantasy action battle show. And it's so fucking good. There is nothing that does world building as quickly and as densely and as fully as Arakawa does in this series. And it's the same for Full Metal Alchemist, right? Mm-hmm. One Piece, has spent years and years and years building out its world building, and I think that that's one way to do it. Arakawa is not interested in taking that much time. Full Metal Alchemist is like 94 chapters or something. I think Yomi no Tsugai we're up to like 40 something chapters, maybe 30. It's so good. It's about a brother and a sister, and they have 2 separate kind of opposing magical powers. Well, one of them has sort of claimed their magical power, the power of break, and the other main character will at some point claim the power of seal. And if anyone, the sort of overarching thing is, if anyone controls both break and seal, they can essentially magically do almost anything they want, because those 2 powers encompass kind of a whole lot of stuff. The other idea here is that there are these demons, right? The English name for this is Demons of the Shadow Realm, which is a bad title, which is why I put Yomi no Tsugai here.
Are you sure it's not daemons?
It is demons. The AE is an E sound. It is spelled stupidly, though. The other cool idea here is that the 2 main characters I mentioned are twins, and a sort of thematic thing that runs through this whole series is the idea of pairs of two things. Every person that has a like power in this series is bonded to a pair of demons that sort of share. Like, for example, one guy is paired to a pair of demons. One is a white moth and one is a black moth. The white moth is stronger in the daylight and can do it can like create more moths. It can do like flashes of light. It does that kind of thing. The black moth is more powerful at night. It does shady stuff. It like kidnaps people. And so those are the kind of the guy you're looking at on screen. His two demons are there in the background. He has like an angler
fish.
Yes, an anglerfish that has like a huge maw and then a smaller anglerfish. Essentially, this is a male and female pair. Anglerfish males are very small. Little here biology fact: anglerfish males are very small, and they essentially bite and attach themselves to the females. They grow into them, and then they like implant their gonads and impregnate that way, and then they're dead.
So they die in there.
They die like fused and attached to the female. Yeah.
Oh man.
Very strange. Anyways, what his two demons do is he can feed the big one. Anything he feeds to the big one can like eat a bunch of stuff with its mouth. He can have the smaller one like regurgitate it later. So he'll pull out pen and paper out of there. He like, if he eats a bunch of rocks, he can throw rocks out of the small one. He has like guns and a bunch of other stuff kind of stored in the big guy's mouth that he can pull out of the little guy. So all of the powers are a very cool kind of this dual sense of working together and cooperating of, a human and these two kind of competing powers. That's just the power system. The characters are great. The writing is great. I mean, everyone knows that Full Metal Alchemist is like, a standout among Japanese media in how good it is. I mean, it was the top, and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood was the top anime for like 20 years. When did it come out? 2006 or 7? So like 17 years until Frieren kicked it out, which Frieren is also very good.
It's amazing, yeah. But I feel like we shouldn't even say was, because give it like 8 months and it'll be back at the top.
Yeah,
it stands the test of time so well.
Yeah. The appeal of Yomi no Sugai is the same as Full Metal Alchemist in that it is a complete picture type of manga where every single part of it is good. It is not focused on just the action. It's not focused on just the characters, or the story, or whatever. Everything that Hiromu Arakawa does is exceptional. I think that's the same for Full Metal Alchemist. I think that's the same for Yomi no Sugai. I think everyone should be reading this. Any recommendation series we have, we could be doing top 5 josei, and I'd be like, well, Yomi no Sugai is kind of a josei. Let me explain. And I would suggest it because I will scream from the rooftops. This is like the best series, and no one is reading it in the West.
Shouldn't have called it Daemons of the Shadow Realm.
That is a dumb name. People just monthly series are hard to sell. I will admit that.
Yeah,
but it doesn't matter. Go read it. It's so good. I just cannot say enough that. And this is a little bit darker and more mature than Full Metal Alchemist, I would say, which goes pretty dark places. This kind of starts from a little bit darker place.
Yeah, I'd say so. Like the main character is okay with like murder.
Yeah, he will just and the main character is one of my favorite main characters in all of manga right now. Yeah, he's very okay with just killing people if they get in his way.
Yeah.
And the opening series is like a mass murder of a town, and so yeah, it goes pretty hard. This, one of the most creative kind of power systems, some of the best world building. Yeah, I could literally make an entire episode that's just this is the Yomi no Sugai. Let me tell you everything about it and why it's so awesome.
Hey, can I give an honorable mention while we're here?
Yeah, let's do it. Hit me with any honorable mentions you think people would like.
An honorable mention, it's not, I wouldn't consider it a battle shonen, but it is close. It's Ranger Reject, Go-Go Loser Ranger, the English title. It is so goddamn good. It's more like a spy thing. I don't even know what to say about it.
It's like a spy double agent thriller.
Yeah. A spy thriller, kind of.
Yeah, kind of. But there's action in it.
There's action in it, but it's not like conventional fights like JJK. But yeah. I'd be remiss not to mention it. It is so, so good. The anime's out. It has 1 week arc, which is when they're in the parking lot.
Which is unfortunately like the second major arc.
Yeah, it's the second arc. But everything before and after that is goddamn amazing. And me and Bruce, like, I think this is like one of our favorite things to read week to week.
It's one of my favorite things to talk about because there's so much in it and it's so full of kind of like twists and turns and secrets to uncover and stuff like that. Like it isn't necessarily always my favorite to read, but when it reveals new information, it's like absolutely one of my favorites to talk about for sure.
And agreed. It's just, it has so much going on. It's just like every chapter is interesting. And I'd say among everything we've discussed, I'd say like D is one of the best protagonists.
Yeah, Foot Soldier D, I think, is the best.
He's great. Yeah.
As far as modern shonen protagonists, of the last 4 or 5 years, D is, I think, the best one. He is amazing.
Yeah. Very good. Anyway, that's my honorable.
Cool. Let me think if I have any more honorable mentions. I mean, I'll throw out the things that I've kind of been throwing out recently that are a little bit too new to fully recommend, I would say. Galaxius and Kaijin Fugeki. Those are 2 series. Galaxius feels a lot more like a fun adventure. I think it is. I think it's one of the only manga that I've read that feels like it has the spirit of something like One Piece in it from chapter 1.
I agree.
And I've been reading it. I think we're only 5 chapters in, 4 or 5 chapters. It keeps that up. I think it's great. Kaijin Fugeki is Great is the artist, right? I think he does kind of
the frog kaiju one.
Yeah, the frog kaiju robot. It kind of has every power system you can imagine. Like, spirits, yes. Demons, yes. Spiritual power, yes. Mechs, yes. Swords, yes. It kind of is. It is all over the place. Above. Fun. The art in it is so fantastic, though, and I think it has a little bit more of a mature feeling just because the art is so like well drawn that it like feels real. So when someone gets hurt or something, you're like, oh, that's intense because it feels real. I think those 2 series are both in Weekly Shonen Magazine. I think you can read them both on the K-Manga app, which is a garbage app, but if you want to read it, you can use it. But yeah, I think those are both really good. And I think if I keep reading them by next year, I think I'll be more ready to make a call on, are these still really good? Kaijin Fugeki is like maybe 18 chapters in, maybe a little less. And then Galaxius, I think is like 6 chapters. So.
Oh, and I think we should mention also that we didn't include Chainsaw Man because it is implied.
You're already reading, yeah. You like Jujutsu Kaisen, if you're reading Jujutsu Kaisen, you're probably already reading Chainsaw Man. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good call out there. All right, cool. Any other manga we want to mention? Any other things about Jujutsu Kaisen suggestions?
Nope.
Cool. Let's do a little bit of news. There is some manga news out there. First one is Look Back. That is the Tatsuki Fujimoto one-shot that is adapted into a movie that is getting rave reviews. That is coming to U.S. theaters October 4th, so go look for tickets for that. That is, from what I understand, a very short movie. I think it's like 45 minutes long, 50 minutes maybe. But it is very impactful. And having read the one-shot, it is a very good story. So.
Hell yeah. I love Look Back. Going to be a depressing watch when we go to check it in theaters.
Yeah. All right, we got some One Piece live action season 2 news. This is relevant to us and everyone else. Season 2 is not going to cover Alabasta. I think we had predicted. I think a lot of people have predicted. We're going to do. We'll go through and cover all of Alabasta. So season 2 is basically only going to cover Logtown, Reverse Mountain, Whiskey Peak, Little Garden, Drum Island. So probably ends with Drum Island and recruiting.
Are these all confirmed?
I think these are all confirmed. Arcs? They may not have confirmed Little Garden or Whiskey Peak. One of those, I don't remember which one. No, Little Garden is with the Giants, right?
Little Garden is with the Giants. Whiskey Peak is the Assassins. You need Whiskey Peak, though.
Do you? Okay. I don't remember if they could. I think they confirmed all of these, but I could be wrong about that. So
because Whiskey Peak is the transition to Alabasta, so I think you need that.
Okay. Yeah.
I think the only skippable one is maybe Little Garden, but I think you might as well include it. There's like so much good character stuff in it.
Well, and Little Garden is the fight with the Wax Man, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a great fight. That's like one of my favorite One Piece fights because I don't know. I think Zoro is at his funniest in that fight when he's like posing himself to freeze. I love that.
Yeah, he's posing and he's like, maybe I can cut off my legs. It's his course of action.
Yeah.
No, yeah, Little Garden is great. And the wax guy the casting is Polka Dot Man from Suicide Squad. What's his name?
David Dalbastian.
What a great casting. He'll be amazing in that role.
Okay. Well, speaking of casting for season 2, we got more cast. We've talked about this on the past episodes, the other casting things. We got are two Nefertari people from Alabasta who show up in the season. Vivi is Charithra Chandran. She was in Bridgerton. You may know her from mainly. And her father, Nefertari Cobra, is going to be Senthil Ramamurthy, who was from Heroes, is where I mainly know him from. I think that is probably his most popular thing.
You just went for it with that pronunciation.
I tried my best, man. You
had an expert consultant right next to you.
I thought
you did not defer.
I thought before, I was like, do I just ask Gautam to say these instead of me saying them?
No, you did good. No, I'm Indian for context. It's nice to have some brown people up in here.
And I think these are great.
They both
I think
look
these
good.
are great
Yeah.
castings. Yeah. I especially think Senthil, the guy from Heroes, we both, when this announcement came out, we both looked at him. We're like, isn't he kind of too young to play the dad? And he's 50. And it's like, oh, okay, never mind. He just
has
the
great
right
genes.
age. Yeah. We got some other casting news. We got Dr. Kureha. Is that who's going to be played by Katie Seagal? If you don't know Katie Seagal, she was the mom in Married with Children. And I think this is one of the most inspired castings of the whole One Piece live action so far. Like, I think this is a perfect fit. I think she's going to be great.
She looks good. I haven't seen Married with Children. Is that like a similar, or did she have good acting chops in that?
I mean, so it's like a late 80s or maybe mid 80s like sitcom, and it is the kind of sitcom where it's like the dad is a kind of sit-at-home loser, and the mom has to yell at him to do stuff, and the kids, disobey each other, and their neighbors come over. It's that kind of show. And so she's kind of a little bit of like a hard-ass mom, kind of that, like,
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's perfect.
So I think like for Kureha, I think that's perfect. So
yeah, it's a good fit.
She's also like 70, I think, which is like wild to think about, but yeah.
Well, so is Kureha, so that's great.
Yeah, so I think that's good. And then we got Dr. Hirluk, who's going to be played by Mark Herelick. And I don't know if that name gave him bonus points or not, but I was writing that down. I was like, is that right? And it's like, yes, Dr. Hirluk is going to be played by a man named Mark Herelick. And you might know him. He was most recently in Preacher. He played God in the Preacher TV show. So he's done a lot on TV, but nothing super memorable. There's some stuff in there that maybe you know before it, but that was the thing that stood out to me was God in the Preacher show.
There's like an internet picture where this little kid is named Superman. That's his name. Yeah. And that's like him applying to be the new Superman. And getting the role. Yeah,
that's good. I want to see him on press tours, just see what he says about playing Dr. Hirluk, and his name is Mark Herelick. Cool. Last thing on the news here. This weekend is what is the actual name of the con? Anime NYC, I think, is the name of the con. And the opening night of that, so I think Wednesday or Thursday night. We got the American Manga Award winners. We talked about their nominations about a month ago, and they announced the winners at a dinner there, an event. So here they are here, the best new manga. So remember, this is for American manga. So these are, if they are published in the West, that is what they're going off of. You'll kind of see what I'm talking about. So for instance, if something stopped being published in Japan last year, but it's still being published here, that'll still show up. So
or if your favorite is being published in Japan but not here, it won't.
Wait, what?
Like if your favorite manga is being published in Japan but it's not being published in the West, you won't see it on this list.
Yes, if there's not an official Western published version of it, then it's not going to show up. So the best new manga, which is kind of the big one, was given to #DRCL. I'm going to call this Dracula Midnight Children. That's what it's for. Which we talked about this, I think, when we went through the nominations, but I see that one come up a lot, and I think I need to check it out.
I honestly haven't heard of it before this list, so it sounds interesting. It just gives us more manga to read. Yeah.
So the next couple of things will be more familiar. Best continuing manga series is Delicious in Dungeon by Ryoko Kui. Obviously, this ended last year, but the last volume I think is coming out in maybe August or October here in the West. So after that, everything will be published here. So Yeah, that is, I mean, that's just an excellent series. Best new edition of classic manga was given to Neighborhood Story by Ayazawa. That is, I had to Google this really quick. That's a series from like the 80s or 70s, like a pretty old one. So not super familiar with it. Best translation was given to Stephen Kohler for his work on Witch Hat Atelier. I think that is a absolutely fantastic translation that is extremely difficult with lots of magical words, and the whimsy I think that he brings to it in the translation I think is really great. I think that is truly one of the best modern translations.
Got it.
And then
I haven't read the official on that, so
yeah, I've been reading it when it comes out, which is monthly. So
nice.
And then best lettering also for Witch Hat Atelier to I think Liz Blakely. I'm not sure how to pronounce her first name, Lys, but and yeah, again, for lettering, all of the magic and the sound effects in Witch Hat, I think, are difficult and well executed, and I think that that's a well-deserved award.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, best publication design by Adam Grano for My Name is Shingo by Kazuo Umez. And this is one I have heard of. My Name is Shingo. I again have not checked it out. These manga awards come up, and there's a lot of new stuff, and it's hard to get to all of it. So,
yeah, true.
All right,
but
cool.
Yeah, honestly, we find some cool shit to read. Every time we see one of these, like Darwin
all
Awards.
These awards.
Year.
Darwin Awards. Not
Darwin Awards. Sorry, it's Darwin Incident.
Darwin Incident. Yeah. I was right at the. Oh yeah, Darwin Awards. Yeah, Darwin Incident. The summer Hikaru died, I think 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago or so. I read that because it showed up on awards shows. So yeah, this is a great place to get suggestions, I think. Cool. I think that's it for manga stuff. Let's do one more thing. Gautam, tell me what you've been doing.
I'm obsessed with the roguelites, so I've been playing RoboQuest. It is a first-person shooter roguelite. It looks like it wouldn't appeal to me, because I guess fighting robots is not that appealing as an aesthetic, but it is so fun. It is so incredibly fun. It's like the Borderlands art style, except with good gunplay. It's just a blast. It's on Game Pass if anyone's looking for a good FPS roguelike.
I think I've seen streamers play this. This is like, did you ever play the Animal Gun roguelike? I don't remember what it was called.
Animal Gun.
I remember what it's called. It looks kind of like that, but a little more like.
Oh yeah, Gunfire Reborn.
Yeah, Gunfire Reborn. There you go.
Yeah, I played a lot of that.
I like that. It is
also good. Yeah, that's a good one too. I'd say RoboQuest is way better.
Really? Okay.
But the good thing about Gunfire Reborn is that it's 4-player, so you can.
Oh yeah, true.
You can play with people. RoboQuest is only 2.
Cool. Yeah, that seems cool. I also like roguelikes, so I should check it out. But unfortunately, my gaming is spoken for because I play World of Warcraft, and The War Within, slightly early access came out. What that essentially means is that if you're a sucker like me, or probably lots of other people, you paid $50 extra to play this 4 days early.
Wait, what?
Yes.
How did that happen?
Oh, yeah. I mean, so the official launch of The War Within is next Tuesday. So we're recording this on Sunday. So in 2 days, that is the official launch of The War Within. If you paid instead $90 instead of $40, or maybe it was $50. I don't remember what the base price is. But if you paid $90, you got to play it starting Wednesday afternoon. So
did you get anything else aside from that?
Yeah, probably. There's you get mounts or armor or pets or something. I don't know. They always include extra shit that I just don't care about. I just wanted to play the game, so I'm a sucker. I have disposable income. I paid to play it early. It is more World of Warcraft. I don't know what to say.
So what is the war they're fighting within? What's the theme of this expansion?
So they're changing up kind of the way they do expansions with this one. They've talked a little bit about it, like on press and stuff. Instead, they usually do like basically an expansion every 2-ish years, right? 2.5 years. Instead, what they're doing, starting with the War Within, is they're doing more like 3 quick 18-month release story things that all connect together. So I don't know if they've released the name. I think they have released the name with all of them. It's like the War Within, Midnight, and something else. So this is like starting a kind of new story thing, but it's tying up essentially planet gets stabbed. Planet's a Titan. These are spoilers for World of Warcraft. Anybody cares? Planet gets stabbed. Planet's a Titan. We are going down into the planet to help it because it is being attacked from the inside by agents of the void, essentially by this girl named Xalatath, who was just a dagger in Legion and now is the big bad of the expansion, I think. So,
isn't Sargeras a bad guy? Like, why are you helping?
We killed Sargeras in...
He's dead?
I think we killed Sargeras in Legion.
Wow.
Any bad guy from Warcraft 3 or the first like 2 or 3 expansions of World of Warcraft
they're all dead and gone.
They're basically all dead now. Like we've killed all the old gods. Well, we think we've killed all the old gods. They say we've killed all the old gods. We've killed all the old gods. We've even killed new invented bad guys that they just made up for the expansion. And they said, oh God, I don't want to talk about World of Warcraft story because it's such dog shit. But in Shadowlands, they just made up this bad guy called the Jailer, who apparently was behind everything, going all the way back to the Lich King. Warcraft 3 expansion.
What happens when you keep needing to raise stakes? Yes,
and that they got done with Shadowlands and they have kind of ignored it, which I think is the best choice. So, yeah, it's the story in World of Warcraft is not great. Although I will say, I played through like one sort of full quest line here. And it was kind of the story, the Dark Eye, I guess the Dark Iron Dwarf, or there are these like, the dwarves essentially are like servants of the Titans, and the planet is a Titan. So the place where we go, that's like the new capital city, is like full of these like new dwarves, who kind of like serve the planet. Some of those dwarves are like mecha kind of automaton type dwarves. And I did a quest line where one kind of mecha dwarf was like reaching the end of his life and had to like do things to prepare himself to die and pass on to like, and give his responsibilities to like his younger, like protege. And I'm not going to lie, that is a pretty well written quest line. I was really impressed with it. I'm usually not impressed by like the writing and the stuff you do in World of Warcraft quests. But I thought that one was like legitimately really good. So
was it a Tears in the Rain moment?
As much
as it could be.
As an MMO can get me to that, yes, I would say.
That's cool. Hey.
Yeah. It's not like I was crying, but it's like, yeah, that was sad and heartfelt and good. So.
Yeah, it was memorable at least, and it's like hard to say that about any MMO quest.
Yeah, I have not remembered a single quest in the World of Warcraft for the past like 6 or 8 years. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I think that's it from us this week, unless you got anything else, Gautam.
Nope. That's it for me too.
Let's get out of here. Hey, thanks again, everyone, for listening or watching. Don't forget to leave us feedback, comments, upvote, thumbs up, subscribe, like, all those things. All those help us out. Check out Twitter and Patreon, linked in the description. And thank you for being with us yet again this week.
Catch you later.
And don't forget to read more manga.